There are a couple of ways you can attach text annotations to your model. The way we've covered before is to use the text function here, text label, and as shown here, if I add a label like that, it comes in by default as the name of the component. If I wanted to just say put a text label in space here to call this, say, face frame, that label, if I orbit around, is attached to the screen. So no matter what I do, it's going to be in that same spot on the screen. So that's not very helpful. I'll undo that. So another way to add text is to use the function here called 3D text. Now it's called 3D text because you can actually give it some depth, which may or may not be helpful depending on what you're doing. So let's say I wanted to label this whole component, or this nested component, the face frame. So what I will do is click on this. It brings up this box. I'm going to type face frame. Typically this box is checked, so that would extrude the text or give it the third dimension. I'm not going to do that right now. I can put in the height here, so that's the height of the text, or how tall the text is, and I want it filled. You can also check the alignment, whether it's regular or bold, and of course the font. So I'm going to click place, and you'll see it comes in. Right now it's in the red-green plane. This is model geometry, so we need to place it like it's part of the model. So if I hover over that face and then just click here, that establishes the orientation, and I'm just going to move it over to there. So it's in the plane of the model there. I'll click outside to deselect that. So now if I am to orbit around here, it stays in place because it's part of the model. I could also, if I wanted to, say, instead of labeling each part like this, I could also open this for editing, and tell you what, I'm going to do the style. I'll open it for editing, and we'll call this style. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And just to show how this works, we'll extrude it 1/4 of an inch, and I'll place it like that. So now I'll click it there, and notice because it's part of the component, it shows up on both instances of the component. So what I would probably do here is rotate it. We'll move it again so it's centered on there. Make sure it's on the plane. So that's actually now, those letters are part of that component. So that's another way you could use this. In this case, note that if I select that, because the text, once again, is part of the model, it's actually made the dimension of the style thicker. So probably not a good idea. I would really want to not use extruded text if I was doing that. So I'll open that and delete that. Now if you didn't want the two colors here, I can go up to the tray and lock that in place. I'm going to go down to a black color here, and I can fill that. So now it's a little easier to read. So that is the 3D text function. Once again, allows you to actually add geometry to your model, add text annotations that stay in place on your model. So sometimes that can be helpful. Perhaps much more helpful than the regular text labels if it's not attached to a component.